There you go. Nice little chime. And why is it going off again? Okay. Hey, welcome to the Sci-Fi Center Live Star Trek Weekly, where we, from this point on until there is no more Trek, which is hopefully never, will explore the weekly givings of the Star Trek universe. This week, it is Star Trek Picard, Episode 2, which I found gripping. Even though, and I'm going to bring this up with the two wingmen I got in the back, everything that they did in this episode was recycled stuff from the last 55 years. Everything. But the cool thing about it is it all worked. Everything that they introduced was something that Star Trek in general, whether it be Next Generation or the movies of the 80s, all reused stuff, all repackaged stuff. But that's when you know you're doing good, is when you can repackage stuff like this, and it worked. Everything that they did in this episode worked, even though I recognized it from a whole bunch of other stuff in Star Trek. I didn't think that this was going to work. I didn't think nostalgia was going to work when it comes to bringing in, ghosts from the past, especially 30 years ago, 40 years ago now, when you're talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation. But it's so far, and we're only 2 episodes in, and they haven't introduced everybody. So far, it's working. It's not reached the level to Star Trek Strange New Worlds for me yet, but Star Trek Next Generation cast, circa 2023, is getting there. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in Brian and Thade because they both watched the episode as well. Brian, you need to burn that hat. How you doing, Thade? Yeah, set it on fire on air right now.
You mean this hat right here?
Don't burn the hat, man. Don't burn the hat.
Of the 2023 cellar dwellers of the Western Division of the National League. You're welcome, Dodgers. You got to have a team to lose for you to actually win the division this year. So you're welcome.
Just the sight of that hat just makes me just want to vomit. So, gentlemen, I'm going to start with Brian, and then I'll go to you, Thade. What did you think of this episode? Disengage.
I loved it. It was fantastic. It's just more feels, and then to see my man Trendon today on Twitter, I was like, yeah, that was freaking awesome. They brought back
our man being Worf.
Oh yes, sir. Oh, get out of here. No, dude, no. Thank you. This is the kind of nostalgia I want shoved into my veins 24/7.
What happened to Worf?
Overdose.
When did Worf become John Wayne Gacy?
I don't know, but he cut that Ferengi's head off like nothing. I was like, yes, finally. Dude. Perfect introduction for one of the most classic characters in all of Star Trek. The most used in the Next Generation era, hands down. Dude, just 100%. Thank God we got Worf back, man. I want to see more of him going forward. I hope this isn't the end. I know Michael Dorn
for the rest of the season.
I'm talking about afterwards. I know Michael Dorn said he's like, it feels good to come back, but I don't know if I can do this forever. I'm like, no, bro, you were doing this forever now. I don't care. You're coming back. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna put you in Discovery. We're gonna shoehorn you in there somehow.
How is he gonna go 900 years in the future?
I don't know, brother, but we're gonna have it to where he's like the only actor that is in every iteration of Star Trek. It's gonna happen because he was in the movie.
We're gonna slingshot him through time.
Worf. No. He could be Colonel Worf, the fifth or some shit like that. Klingons are long lived. He could be on Discovery. I'm telling you. No, I'll shut up. You guys can.
I was quite shocked to see that brutality. I know he can kill. He's a Klingon warrior, but it's just the suddenness in which he struck. It's just like the Ferengi's head coming off was like, wow, okay, I guess he's not important just going forward because he's both him and the guy he sold the weapons to are dead. So something's telling me Worf had something to do with a lot of this, and that's why he wanted her to disengage. And of course, she's hard-headed, insubordinate, and he saves her ass. But Raffi is starting to get on my nerves. Not the actress, but the character is just so. She just plays the desperate cop on a case thing. I don't know if I like that with her.
We just got to see more.
Yeah, I get it. You know why? Okay, the proof to that, seeing more, Captain Shaw's starting to warm up to me, man. Listen, I wanted to slap the shit out of that guy in the first episode. I'm actually starting to warm up to Captain Shaw.
Kind of reminded me of Harriman a little bit. Like he's like, it's risk is part of the reward. You want to sit in that chair. I feel like I got that kind of a speech almost. From,
not just Harriman, but there's been a couple from like Next Generation that he reminds me of. Yeah. There was one. He was I can't remember his name, but older guy, wore the Mighty Maroon on his ship. He was in the early seasons of Star Trek Next Generation. Anyway, there's a point where there's another captain. I can't remember his damn name, but there's another captain that seems just like Shaw.
Ronnie Cox?
That's Jellicoe, though, right?
Yeah, what other captain? So Captain of Enterprise or Captain in general?
Just the captain in general of one of the ships.
Oh yeah. It's like the first time we really got to see somebody that besides, but I don't remember what it was from. I think it was from that episode, the first season, right? Like,
yeah, it was from the first season.
They're kind of talking about it now.
Let me see if I can find him really quick. Hold on.
With the things that grow in the back of your neck and make your head explode. I forgot, but
I know what you're talking about.
Yes, we got to see that Admiral, and then we got to see the other ship too, right? I think.
By the way, Michael Dorn out of makeup looks like he's 40. He
Bro,
does not look like he's
timeless.
And he's like 67, dude. Like he's like 70 now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got to be up there with everybody else.
He looks like an old Klingon, but they had to age him up because Worf in general has aged worse than the actual human that plays him. Because Michael Dorn, because they showed him outside of the makeup, I'm like, dude, you're what? And it's another one of these damn celebrities. Listen, Tom Cruise, Paul Rudd, and now Michael Dorn's on my shit list now for looking like this. I'm like, I'm fighting hard to look like the Slee Stack, and I'm 30 years younger than he is, and I have no shot. I'm like,
yeah. He must work out. That's all I gotta say. Personal trainer.
I must have stressed or whatever, but he looked great, right. And I like this part. Like I said, I was just about to get sick of Raffi's character, and I understand that we need more time with her. But at the same time, it's like, okay. And then that whole situation where, the whole eye drug thing, and I'm like, I don't like anything being done to the eyes. I can't. I cringed when she sprayed that crap in her eyes. I'm like,
what? You don't want to play a game?
The Ryza game.
Yeah.
I hated that too. Geez, but no, we get back to the ship. Amanda Plummer is as good as I thought Amanda Plummer would be.
There you go.
Fair.
There's Michael Dorn.
How old is he?
He is. Give me just a second. Michael Dorn.
It really doesn't matter. I look like shit compared to that. He looks. That's what I'm supposed to look like.
Don't get so down on yourself, William. Come on now.
Where's my protein bars? Every time I see one of these guys, I want to say, you know what? I can do some push-ups too. I know.
Right? You get back into shape again. You got this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start. That's my inspiration.
Michael Dorn is 70 years old, guys.
What?
He's 70.
He's like, I wish I could look that good.
Look at his arms, dude. Look at his skin. He doesn't even have the crow's creep that you have when you're under your eyes. And granted, you know what? Us black, we don't crack, but that's ridiculous.
That man looks good.
That's like he looks better than he looks like a fit, strong Steve Harvey. Like if Steve Harvey just worked out. Look at that. There's no gray in his mustache.
I want to see him.
Look at his pecs. He's wearing a medium-sized shirt and he's got his pecs coming through. I'm like, what? That is not. It's cool for him. This is the kind of stuff that makes you just want to go to Avatar. Makes you just want to go to like the little screen and where my little championship belt just hides all me. But my goodness! So you look at what Worf looks like, Grandpa Worf in the show, and you look at him now. I'm like,
he's all white-haired in the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
he probably could have just had the. He could have looked like he just jumped off of season 7 of DS9, dude. As far as I was concerned.
Wow, dude, he is older than Because what's her face? You know who else is hot for her age is 7 of 9 at 55, 54.
Oh yeah,
55.
Not even gonna lie.
Wow.
Gates
Jerry Ryan.
Gates McFadden. Okay, still.
Okay.
Gates still. Gates
and
still,
having babies.
like,
Her character's having babies. Her character's in her 50s, even by canon. The last time you see her, okay, because she has Wesley and all that, so she's throughout the show she's late 40s, 50s.
What'd you think about the Riker question?
Oh,
like where he looks him up and down. He's like,
Riker straight up hit him over the head with it. Riker hit him over the head with it, man. It was great.
Well, Riker was Riker was like, "Come on, dude." It's like
now the part that I liked the most is when they bring Bev out on the bridge at that near the end there, and between her, Riker, and Picard, there's not a word passed, but it's all said with the eyes. It's all said with the eyes. That just proves how great actors they are. Yeah, they communicated that whole scene with their eyes alone.
In their chemistry. Back.
I like the way Shaw's response to it is when he says, "Well, because it's my son." He's like, "Well, oh, damn it." So he's like, you could kind of see he was like, he wants that action because he's like, you know what? He could have just left. He's like, no, you got me into this. I want to see what I'm up against.
Yeah, you kind of poked me a little bit and said, "Hey, you stroked my ego a little bit, so I'm going to go now. Let's go."
Yeah. Well, and I like William said earlier, I'm really liking Shaw now. Like after that second episode, like I get it. I get what Brian was saying last episode when we did this show. You know, he was talking about there's got to be something behind Shaw that's going on. Yeah. And what strikes me as interesting is Vedic knows stuff about them.
Yeah, he's his psychological makeup, and which leads me to
she knows about his psycho. Who the hell is she?
She's probably part of Starfleet. Yeah, no, she's probably an ex-Starfleet person. That's why she knows a lot of this stuff, and she still has access to spies inside.
And why I asked
was it Starfleet? It wasn't Starfleet when the Borg hit. I think he lost older members of his family. Like he may have lost brothers and fathers and stuff. I think he lost. I think he was still a kid at Wolf 39, but I think he joined Starfleet basically to follow in his family's footsteps, and try to avenge him in some way. But by the time he became a captain, the Borg is dead. You know, the only vestiges of the Borg are standing in front of him. So, like you guys were saying last week, I can understand where he's coming from now. But he became a lot more likable in this episode, especially when he's going back and forth with whether he wants to put what's her face in the brig, and he can't do it. He can't even bring himself to do it. And when she just appeals to his ego, it's like, you can be the legend that saved the legend, or you can be the one that legend that let them die. And he was like I said, he was starting to get like, well, Amanda Plummer, I just wanted to choke, which means that always means you're doing a great job. When I want to choke you as a villain, then and this whole just good work. Yeah, she's just smoking. She's just like a chain smoker. She's just smoking one cigarette at a time, and she just seems kind of crazy, but Beverly does not look 73 years old.
Okay, so you notice what it says on this little thing right here?
I can't see
Project Con.
Oh, so they're talking about what happened at the end of season 2?
Now, there's some rumors.
She brought up the synthetic body. She brought up that. Does Starfleet know about that?
There's some rumors going on that she might know something about Project Con.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense.
You have a long lineage with that scientist, though. Yeah, so
we got Liana
also
from Strange New Worlds.
Also, Vince says this right here. Theory is Vedic may be descended from the Romulans from yesterday's Enterprise. What was the name of her ship? The name of her ship was the Shrike, right?
Yeah.
That's an often used Romulan name for ships. And if you look at the design of her ship, it's very Romulan-esque.
That is true.
It looks a lot like Nero's ship in Star Trek.
It's kind of like the Narada, yeah.
It's kind of like the Narada.
I don't know, man. I think she's former Starfleet or something with Starfleet intelligence. I think she probably got screwed by Section 31 or somebody.
We all know her. We all knew who her father was. The actress's father was Christopher Plummer. He played Chang.
Yeah, he played Chang.
General Chang.
The most fun Klingon of all time, by the way.
And she was doing like when she was in the big chair on her ship, doing like talking to them. She was acting a lot like Chang did in Star Trek 6.
Yeah, reciting Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Best.
I can see you, Kirk. Can you see me?
Always
can you see me? Cry havoc and let's slip the dogs of war.
That was the most un-Klingon ever, but I really enjoyed that movie. He was nothing like any Klingon ever. There was him and Gorkin, Ambassador Gorkin, were the most un-Klingon guys, and they were both in that same movie. But I enjoyed that movie because of him. But no, I think that she has something to do. Hi, Michelle. I think she's got something to do with Raffi's exploring, and all of this is all tying together to some kind of it's all her. But I just don't know what her motive is yet. But we also got Laura coming in too. I think Laura is hooked up with her, so it's going to be interesting. They're releasing a little bit. I felt like I was more than 2 episodes in after I got done with this one. It really felt like I felt like you said episode 2. Oh shit, that's all it was. But no, I thought
we were supposed to get Moriarty at some point in time too. So it's like,
yeah, we got 8 more episodes. We got 8 more weeks. 8 more weeks. So I'm here for it. Like I said, the most cliche episode.
Also, I want to say that Ferengi was the most non-Ferengi I've ever met. Most Ferengis are played for like comic relief. That Ferengi was sinister.
What was the throwback to like the first season Ferengis where like
they were whipping. Remember they had the whips and they were trying to whip him. This guy.
I mean, the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine watered the Ferengi down a lot.
Yeah, they're buried. They're shitty people. They're shitty. It's a shitty species, but I just see.
By the way, Michelle, I just want to say sorry for your loss. My condolences, at the very least.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, sorry to hear about that.
No, we're coming up on a year for my dad from the same thing. So yeah, no, my heart
coming up on. We just passed a year for my dad. So
I'm fortunate enough that mine's still around, but I acknowledge the fact that life is fleeting. So.
Oh, and Vince makes a cool point here too. His bio on the thing, known associates were Quark and Okana. The outrageous Okana.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta watch those. You gotta watch those bio things on those things, and before and afterwards when they're playing that. If you go watch Trek Yard, they like go through it like piece by piece. It's hilarious.
Just the first part of the credits for the end of the show, like you get a lot of information from the episode.
Yeah,
like when it's running through what looks like ship components.
Yeah,
there's a lot of information there.
Kind of like when they did with the Mandalorian, where they would show you the pieces of the little still artwork. But this episode, every bit of it was recycled stuff, but it was still kind of cool. Every bit of it, there's not. I mean, Carol Marcus was recycled in here. I mean,
next episode is going to be very recycled. 17 seconds. They're going into the nebula. It's going to be Wrath of Khan all over again.
Same thing. Like I said, Wrath of Khan was all over this episode. I mean, it was like the whole thing was. I mean, it's so far it's working though. Like I said, it's more of a reflection than it is recycle. Because, like I said, I mean, it's just weird for me that, okay, so if Card is 95 years old in the show, right? So what's 75? What's 25 minus 94? So we're talking about 70 even, right?
Yeah,
69, 70. And so he's banging Beverly. These 2 senior citizens are getting. Not only are they getting it on, they're having babies.
Yep.
Your grandparent age. Starfleet people are banging and having kids after they're grown ass. One of them has a grown ass kid who's 50. Will Wheaton is 50. So, which is really weird to say because that makes me feel because I'm like I'm right behind his ass. But so they're getting it on. I'm like, what?
Keep in mind that Bones McCoy lived to be 135. So
yeah, but was he banging like that though? I mean, growing old is one thing. Still maintaining. I mean, like I said, not prime Picard from episode 1 of Counter at Farpoint. I understand.
Nemesis Picard.
If you go to the nursing home you go to the nursing home, or the 95-year-olds, and are they getting it on? Are they having kids as a result of it? So,
dude, if humans are living to 150, that means 75 is middle age.
Okay,
Dr. McCoy was really old.
Dr. McCoy died at 135.
Let's have a
He
kid.
was 135 when he died.
So Gates McFadden is 73. Let's say her age is, so she was always about what, a good 15, 20 years. So that means she's having kids at like in her mid 50s. Wow. I guess that's what the future holds. Damn pimp Picard. I don't know. They got to bring Wesley back. I want to see Wesley. Hey, he's your way younger brother.
Did you guys see the Ready Room? Did you guys watch the Ready Room afterwards? It's Will Wheaton with Ed Spaliers.
Yeah, because he's interviewing him. He said, "Hey, you're my brother." I guess I need them to meet on camera, and I want to know what has become of Wesley.
Vince thinks that Jack was a test tube baby.
He's a traveler, dude. That's what happened to Wesley.
Oh,
Wesley's a traveler.
That's right. I totally forgot that he saved the last season with that. I wonder. I need to see the Enterprise. We still have yet to see the Enterprise. It's coming. Enterprise.
Okay,
Enterprise,
but Scipio, you're talking about Vulcans lived way longer than humans. Spock was 180. Yeah.
I'm not judging their longevity. I'm judging the fact that not only are they old, they're knocking boots and making babies at the to go along with their 50-year-old kids. They're like, hey, fuck it, let's do it. Turn that music on, Dad. And I listen, and I understand that they live a lot longer, but the quality of life now must be great. I mean, I wish I could be living in the 25th century to be like, you know what? Never thought about having kids. I got till I'm 80. Hell.
And can we talk about the Shrike hurled a starship at the Titan?
That was some bullshit, but that was cool bullshit though. The only one that could explain it was LaForge's kids. He's like, yeah, it's just some normal. She shouldn't be able to do it, but they did it.
Sports says up, everybody.
Yeah, that was kind of cool the way she threw that, and then they're all looking around like, what did she just do?
Vince does make a good point. This real world here, the biggest epidemics of STDs in the world currently are in the nursing homes right now.
Yeah, but they're not having babies though. Like I said, I just thought it was cool that the fact that once we figured out, we all knew, okay, that's his kid. The timeline's up, and I'm like I said, because Picard is supposed to be in his 90s in this show, but because humans live as long as we've established, that's not nothing. He could actually be, he should still be an admiral. To be honest with you.
Scipio also makes a good point here. Hefner had a couple of kids in his 70s.
Yeah, okay. Hefner was banging 20 and early 30-year-olds. All right. Gates McFadden is literally my mom's age. So that would be my mom having had me and reached her 50s, mid-50s, and said, you know what? Let's have another one. She's literally the same age as my mom. And I'm like, wow. Picard went from a guy who's like straight edge, no romance, to okay. Which was, you know what? That's fine. It's just like Kirk and his son. I hope there's a better ending for Jack. I don't want Jack to get. That was one of the dumbest things Star Trek ever did, to be honest with you, in Star Trek 3 when they
killed off David.
Killed it. Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
It was done purely to continue the tenseness between him and Klingons.
But that tenseness, I mean, there was already there without the death.
Never trusted the Klingons.
They used it again.
I never will.
I'll never trust.
I've never forgive them for the death of my boy.
Carol Marcus, she was never going to. Oh, by the way, rest in peace, both of those actors. Is Billy Morton and him. He died. He died very young. Samantha Morton's mom.
Meredith Brettrick, or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died in 88, 89.
Right after
Vince makes a point here. He says, Vosh, Picard had a couple of flings during the show.
Yes, but he was the typical old dude, and Vash was like decades. Vash was, younger than him, and we're talking about a Picard that's like 40-something. Because he got the role as Picard at Star Trek. He was 46 years old. he got the role the same age that Scott Bakula got the role in. When he became a captain, and pretty much the same as everybody else. So Vash was like maybe a 15-year age difference. He wasn't 94, hitting it on with or 70 something, hitting it on with a. But like I said, congratulations, Picard. I always wondered. Now I don't have to anymore. We always, they always hinted at him and Beverly knocking boots, but they just never really went to that edge. Not only were they doing it, they did it way after we were thinking that they'd ever do it. But I like Jack Crusher. I like him. I like his character. Like I said, I need to see Wesley confront him and see. I'm like, where did you come from? He needs to bring the Travelers back. Hey, and bring what's her face back with her too, because I missed.
Oh wow, Merritt Buttrick died at 29.
Yeah, he died. Yeah.
Died of toxoplasmosis caused by AIDS.
Yep.
That's horrible.
She died of breast cancer a couple years later, and like I said, her daughter is an actress, Samantha Morton. It was a dude. He did not have a long career at all. But
29, man, that's
nothing. But I enjoyed the show. I mean, it took place in just basically two settings. Her and her ghetto, her Starfleet intelligence ghetto, and then doing her crazy stuff and just completely flying off the handle. And then finally, like I said, they did that. And I've seen those scenes where Worf's beating her up, or she tries to attack Worf, and that's a mistake.
Yeah.
So I want to know what Worf's official position. Obviously, he's Starfleet intelligence, but is he still in Starfleet, or is he just part of Section 31, or is he
Samantha Mathis?
Yeah, Samantha Morton.
Samantha Mathis.
Samantha, I'm sorry, Manton. All right, I get it. But yeah, that's her. That was her daughter. Spock. Okay, so I'll go back to this. Spock, but Vulcans live to be about an average 225 years old. Spock would have lived right around that time. I forgot how old he was when he died, but remember he had human blood in him as well. So I don't know if obviously he lived a lot. He would live, plenty, given his Vulcan side. But a full-blooded Vulcan. Remember Tuvok. Tuvok left to give you a sense of how old Vulcans are and how slowly they age. Tuvok left Starfleet for 50 years and returned. He left Starfleet for 50 years and came back and just say, "Hey, I want back in." They're like, "Okay." And he's old. And if you go to Enterprise, what's her face she was oldest person on the ship by decades. So she was older than
T'Pol.
T'Pol
was over 100 years old by the time of Enterprise.
Have you seen her lately? That's another immortal. I mean, remember how hot she was back then? She looks the same now, dude. It's like that show's been off the air for like 20 something. It'll be 20 years here, and about next year it'll be 2 years. It'll be 20 years since the show went off the air. Not since it came on, since it went off the air. So she's got
Spock died. Spock died at 161 years old.
Yeah. So and McCoy died. Well, McCoy didn't. He was 137 years old when you last saw him. He could still be alive for all we know. But he had aged significantly, even though that was him. He had aged, whereas Spock obviously had slow age. But the Vulcans and Romulans live a lot longer than humans. But even humans, because you got to realize that they're not living with all the toxins and inhibitants and stuff that we are living with, and modern science is probably keeping the bodies fertile, because apparently that's probably a difference too. You can whereas women now, I mean, obviously you reach a certain age, it becomes dangerous to have children. Beverly had no such guardrails, so. That's kind of cool. Like I said, but even at 73, she looks great for 73, and she's kicking ass and shooting people. And I'm like, whoa. Now you'll have Deanna Troi coming in, and obviously there's going to be some tension between, because I saw the scene where she's just like, you just up and left, at the first chance you got to go flying off into space. I heard Deanna Troi talking to Riker in one of the scenes, but I'm like, wait a minute. If anybody can understand loyalty to Picard, Deanna, she should. I mean, I don't know why that would be an issue with her. So I got to see the context of what she was saying. So, But I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed the evolution of the brand new people that we bought in. You know, Riker is a classic Riker. He's funnier than hell.
Okay, so if the last time we saw McCoy was an encounter at Farpoint, which was we've quoted about 45, 50 years before this series, he could not still be alive. He was 137 years old at encounter at Farpoint. He would be well over 200 years old if he were still alive now.
Yeah, he probably died not too far after that. Because remember, he was a retired admiral too, so it wasn't like he was still in Starfleet. He was a retired admiral wearing some made up Starfleet uniform that he could, but he had made it to admiral. Everybody else
they all kind of made it to admiral at some point or another, except for Scotty, because he was on the Janolan.
Nah, Spock never did.
No, he was an ambassador.
Yeah. Who else? Scotty obviously never did. McCoy did. It's hilarious because out of all of them, McCoy's the only one. Uhura never did. Chekhov never. Remember, because when they come back, they're retired. When they come back for Star Trek Generations, they're retired. They're out of Starfleet. Kirk is retired, and so is Scotty. Even though actually no, Scotty's not retired. Scotty's still active. He's active when they bring him out of retirement or out of that stasis.
Yeah,
he's actually. Remember, Picard says, "Hey, we need to treat him like a star. He's still a Starfleet captain." So yeah. Let's see. I enjoyed this episode. Is there anybody? No, she got
retired. Montgomery Scott retired as Starfleet captain. Retired in 2369.
Say that again. You broke up. He retired to what?
Montgomery Scott retired as Starfleet captain in 2369.
Yeah, that was after the Next Generation bought him back up. No, Beverly got pregnant way after this show was over. She got pregnant after Nemesis.
I'm gonna get going. Max still hasn't watched it yet, so I'm gonna go watch it with him. So yeah, there'll be more in the crowd. Yes. Have a good one, fellas. Thank you.
All right,
I'll see you guys next week.
All right, man.
All right,
take it easy.
So Beverly got pregnant after, because she said, we haven't seen you in 25 years, so that's probably why she left.
Yeah.
Gates did but she had been fired and bought back into season 3 because audience. Oh well, yeah, because you're talking about after. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, there was a contract dispute that lasted all of 12 months, and Pulaski was horrible. So
and luckily we never saw her again.
She went to LA Law and got killed off of that show too because she stepped in an elevator shaft.
That's like we watched. Me and Stella watched Best of Both Worlds last night, both parts, and you realize you never see Commander Shelby again either.
Yeah, you can follow her exploits in the books though.
Yeah. I know she joined the task force. She joined the.
She married. She gets followed with the New Frontier. She ends up marrying actually a kick-ass captain. I really do want to see on TV one day, Captain Mackenzie Calhoun. They ended up they explore her exploits in the books, and her and Jellicoe's an admiral, but she actually becomes an admiral. So in those books are semi-canon, but you know how that goes. But yeah, I'm super enjoyed this episode. So we're gonna wrap this up because I think we've covered everything. You got any final thoughts on this episode?
No, except for it was pretty. It didn't act like a filler episode, so it was really good in my opinion. I liked it.
Nah, it was nostalgia done right, and that's really hard to do. Nostalgia is really, like I always say, nostalgia is like a time bomb. If you pull the wrong wires, then everybody dies. If you do it right, then you're gonna have a really nice rest of your life. So I'm happy that they did the nostalgia right. So, all right. I wish we could.
What were the names of those books?
Go ahead.
What were the names of those books?
The New Frontier.
New Frontier. Okay.
Yep. I actually have those all here too. The New Frontier. They're actually pretty good books. Picard's in them. Andrew Jellicoe's in them. They start off, but like I said, it's about the USS Excalibur. which is a ambassador class starship that they end up taking over, and there is a treaty between the Tholans and a bunch of other people in a certain region of space, and it's their job as the sole Starfleet ship in that area to monitor everything. So it's actually a pretty good series of books. I think you'll enjoy them. So
that's cool.
All right, guys, that's it. Until tomorrow night, our marathon tomorrow night, we do guaranteed actually have a special guest, someone who has made a movie. It's not True Blood and Honey yet. If I can get those guys on, I'll let you guys know. But we're working on that. But I do have somebody that has made underground films. Go ahead.
Also, I'm communicating with Wednesday with the guy from Womp Stomp Films, and he should have us down probably for this next weekend. So,
all right, awesome. So we're going to have independent filmmakers on every week from here on out. But tomorrow we have a special guest that I'm going to be featuring here in the next couple weeks at an event, and his movie is going to be premiering here in Vegas at my event, Traumania. So it is a trauma film. We are going to be bringing on the director and producer of Eating Miss Campbell. So he will be with us tomorrow night. And like I said, we will be premiering that movie here on March 31st as part one of night one of Traumania. Lloyd Kaufman will be here in person, and that person will be here tomorrow night. And then we're working on getting the directors of Shakespeare's Shitstorm. That's another one that's going to be premiering. So these are all, even though they're trauma movies, it's underground stuff. It's underground stuff that trauma helps get out.
As for who I'm bringing to the show, he's the head of Womp Stomp Films. He should be on. He did the short films for Friday the 13th, Never Hike Alone and Never Hike Alone in the Snow. And I should have more information on him by the middle of next week. So,
okie dokie, guys. Until tomorrow at 9:30, we will see you later.